Okay. Yeah, it does. Okay. Now, do we have the page there? I'm sorry about the interruption. Page. Okay, thank you. Let me raise your volume a little bit. Okay. Look at it would be the second paragraph where it starts for Al Shem Mab Zeh. Now, the question I had after we learned the last piece, we came down here, we looked at this. Was trying to figure out what was going on. I said, I know that you say Ana B'Koach in the Kriya Shema Lameda. And he wants to talk about covering your eyes or covering your face, rather covering your face, covering your feet, and then flying in 3 different parts. So I wanted to show the first thing that we were supposed to look at, and I'll go back to it because it's not on that video didn't work out. So just looking back real quickly at the drawing of Avge, then we see that he took the first 2 letters of the Ana B'Koach, the Rosh Tevos, of the 3 different sections and divided into 3 sections of 2. So that's what we're going to look at now. The first question that I had, now coming back to the back of the Sefer, and let me see if I can turn this a little slightly. Question is that what do you do and what do you accomplish? Why do you have to have this concept of covering your eyes or covering your face and then covering your feet and then flying? What is that about? So is it Vashem Mab Zen Emer B'Shtayim Yichase Panav V'Shtayim Yichase Raglov V'Shtayim Yofev. Now, why do we say, what does this do for you? So if you recall that he said in the first paragraph that it has a lot to do with the word Yira. The word Yira, which appeared in, also I saw it in the Parsha a couple of days ago, was looking for the days, is that Vayera Sarah. So Sarah laughed, and so then she was afraid. So what's that about? Well, maybe you could touch it onto this. That would be the aleph and the base here. You cover your face, which is Chabad. Why do you cover your face? That's the question. Why cover your feet? What's this all about? The call Sfira Os Aleph, so he says the call Sfira Os Aleph the Chasaf or Panimi or the Os base the Chasaf or Makif. So I read it slightly wrong. Let me read it again. He says the Chasaf Panav, the Panav represents the Chabad. The call Sfira, the Os Aleph of the first 2 letters, is for the purpose of covering over the or Panimi. The Os base, the Chasos, or Hamakif is to cover over the Makif. So in all those cases, Shadol the Alos, and this is the reason why. So the idea of Yira is that 216 is that Rayo. The Rayo is a Guvura, which stops things. It stops. It has, what is it? What's the right word? So, but it stops the flow upward. V'shtaim Yikaz Osius Shnius Shabakol Shalshem. Yichasa Raglov, you should cover your feet. What's that about? Shahim Panimi Umakif deny the call Sphira, so that would be the Panimi and the Makif that call Sphira. Shalo Yispashet V'Yored Lamata B'Bedregosa, so that it should stay in that level of Yira and not go further down. The Vishtei Osis Achronos Ya'ofef, and then the final 2 letters, this allows the Neshama to go up. B'Panimi Umakif would take all of that, B'Chagat, in the Chagat that calls Sphira of every Sphira. So he's going to get in more detail of that. La'alos be'ez aliyas alamos, to go up at the time of the aliyah of alamos. L'makam atzarech lo v'lo yoser. So in other words, when you're going up or from the position, I mean, we have this leapfrog thing where we talk about the panemius going up and covering over the chitzonius of the part down below it. We went through that kind of idea because which makes it into a chitzonius. So he says, Atzarach lo v'lo yoser ki beis osius rishonos, and we don't want you going past, you can't go past that. So once it's maybe it means, I'm just speculating, maybe it means that as you move up you become a chitzoni, and as a result of that, you stay. That becomes your level. So ki beis osius rishonus ochzim ma'akvim lo shalo lis alos yoser. So one is to keep it from going down yoser. Maybe that's what Sarah meant when she said Vayera Sarah, that she was afraid that she was going to sink down too low, or I'm not sure. Maybe also at the same time going too high because it was a tremendous news. So now we're going to get a little we'll get. Okay, we're going to go to the next page, page Tov Shin Nun He, and we're supposed to have that. So now we work a little bit harder. At the very end, I think he comes and sums up the Rishash so we can understand it better. So he said, "V'ata tzarichin alos sheish madregos kitzonius Chabad and the penimios Chagat Ta'asiyah." So we're taking out this is what we're concentrating on it. The Chabad, which is the top part, we would be dealing with the kitzonius of that, and at the same, the penimios of the Chagat Ta'asiyah. That we're going to take these and we're going to elevate them. So it's of Ayadei Shisha Shemos Dema Rishonim. So by those 6 letters, the Halbish Penimius. So what do we want to accomplish by this? We want to cover these elements up. The Halbish Penimius V'Chitzonius Malchus the Yitzira, to cover over that. In other words, to go up to the next level. Ha'omendesham Sheba Sheish Osius the Shem Hashivihi, which is begins with the letter Shin and Kof. Still waiting on this. But you notice that he writes it, he doesn't write it of the second, he doesn't write the word. That's one of the things I think maybe what's going on here is that, in this machlokas that we're talking about, the Shem HaShivi, which is Shin Kuf, starts to begin with that. And you're going to take this lower level, which is coming from the Chabad Chagat Ta'asiyah, that area, and it's going to cover over this name. V'lachaber kol shem mishisha shemos el os aleph, and you take every one of the 6. Will go onto the letter aleph, the shem hashivi of the 7th name. V'lechein ba'amro tefilus ana b'koach yikavin baroshe tevis the hamshik shisha shemos rishonos machagat nai the yitzira. So we know what that is. La'alos al yedei gimel shemas harishonim, by the way of the 3 first names, as kitzonius Chabad the Chasiyah shehem Chagat v'nai the Chabad. So what is the Chagat the Asiyah? He says, which are the Chagat and the Nai, which is the Vav and the K of Asiyah. The Chabad, it goes up to the level of Chabad. So there, the Halbish, Penimius, Malchus, the Yitzira, and all of these go up to cover over the Penimius of the Malchus, the Yitzira, Shehem Chabad Sheba. Now I'm finding this a little bit difficult because it's contradicts, this idea that I had from way back when we were talking about the Tefillas of Shaar, where he said over there that it's only the Penimius that goes up and the Chitzonius stays where it is. So I'm a little confused. But let's read on, and we'll read through this, and we'll see how we could do. So he says, "Shabav al yedecha gimel shemas achronim la'alos penimius chagat da'asiyah." So he's calling these names by these double letters. I think that's what he means, to bring up the chagat da'asiyah, shehem chabad the chagat, which is the chabat of the parts of kol chagat, the halbish kitzonis amalchus, that is the malchus of Yitzira. Shehem Chagat v'nai Shabab Ovenzez, and I could explain a little bit more. So if that wasn't hard enough, so we'll try something more difficult. So Ba'omra Shisha Tevos Rishonos. So now when he says the 6 first names, I'm thinking that he means the double letters, but I'm not sure what he means. Yekavin Lahamshech Shem Harishon, which is Abgi. So here we go. So he just says it. He doesn't say the Shem Harishon of the Avik of the Ana B'Koach. He doesn't say that. Instead, he says the letters. So the difference is that Rabbi Memran said it's okay to pronounce these letters. So, and you see that appearing like this. So he says Shem Arishon, which is Aleph base, we'll call it, till we get a further elucidation on this. Shem Arishon Avgi Mechesed the Yitzira. Where's it coming from? Let's take Olam Yitzira. And when you say the first 6 words, he says, you're reaching down into which it divided up. I think the first words are Aleph base, and then Gimel Yud, and then Tav Tzadi, as we saw there. Where did it come from? It's going to be a pull, some kind of a pull, Mechesed Yitzira, B'shtei Osius Rishona Yechased Panimi, Umakiv Tehachan, the Chochma, the Chesed, V'netzach, the Chochma, the Siyah. Now, so for the purpose of learning this, we always have to go to the very last words in the string, because that's where this is always all going. So it's really going to the Chochma of a Siyah, this light, let's say, that's coming from Tiferes. So he said, Chesed, the Tiferes, is going to search down into this Abgi. So he says, Avanetzel the Chochma the Siyah al Yedech Hashemas Hanaz, like the names that we said, the Av and the B, and so on and so forth. Uv'shtei Osius Shnios, so in the second set, L'chasav Panimi Umakif Tehachan. So what are we doing? Well, I'm sorry, we're supposed to go over that last one. L'chasav Panimi Umakif, so we understand those are the 2 lights of the right line, the Chachan. What light line? Netzach as a parts of the right line of the parts of Netzach. Chesed is a parts of, going deeper into it, of the right, once again on the right line. The Netzach, the Chochma, also the Netzach of Chochma, Ayedei Shemos HaNizal, by these names that we said. V'shtei Osius Achronos, so the last 2 letters of which would be Tov and Tzadi. L'ofef b'benimi u'makif tehachan dechesed. Let's go over the words again. To fly, then your soul should fly, using with the 2 lights that are coming from Olam Asiyah. B'benimi u'makif tehachan of the right line. Once again, he says of the chesed of chesed. In other words, chesed is a partsuf. We're looking at the right line of that. Chesed v'netzach. Looking at the complete right line, which is Chesed and Netzach. And where's it coming from? It's coming from the parts of called Chochma. So look at Chochma and look at the Chesed and the Netzach there. And you're going to take that V'la'alos call Haklalos Hachan the Chesed. So what you're going to try to do is take the whole right line. The Klalos of the Hachan the Chesed. Now Chesed again is the parts of the Chesed and Netzach. The Chochma of the Chochma. So again, it's right line. Ayidei Shemos HaNizal, like those for those names that we mentioned. And what are we doing with this? A lahalbish, we're going to bring it up, and that's the idea. And we're pulling, it's like this mob is pulling it up. Lahalbish Chachan Dechabad Hamalchus the Yitzira, in order to cover over the right line of the face of the Malchus the Yitzira, V'lachadro La'os Shin the Shem Hashvi, and tie them on. Now this is a part that I haven't worked out yet. All of this has to go onto the 7th name. So how somehow the Lachavram La'os Shin, the Shem Hashvi, which is offhand, does it? Okay, I'm trying to think of shak. It begins with shak. Let's just say that. When you say the next 6 letters, which begin with the word kabel, rinas, amecha, those 3, the Roshi tables. Kuf Reish Ayin. Now, once again, I would like to read it. I had Rishus from Rabbi Memran to say it, so he says, Yikavein b'shem karasotan. Okay, I said it. The Hamshicho min Gevura de Yitzira, in order to take that from the Gevura of Yitzira, B'shtei Osius, so you're going to pull from that Gevura de Yitzira, B'shtei Osius Rishon is grabbing a hold of the first 2 letters of the Karasatan, the Chasos Panimi Umakiv de Baga, which is the left line to Bina, the Gevura. Now let's go back once again of the Bina of Gevura and Hod, the Bina Desiya. So that's where you're reaching down. Let's read it again. He says, B'shtei osis rishonos lechasos penimio makif. Okay, so that's all the lines that cover over all of those lines. The baga, and why are we covering over the lines? Remembering again, because we don't want them to go down too far or to go up too far. So they have to go to their right. This is like a control. The rayo is like a control on the direction, where it's actually going to go. So he says we'll take the first two letters, and they're going to cover over the Pnimi Amachov, the Baga, the Bina. So this is all left lined. The Gevura, that's the Bina of Gevura. The Bina of Gevura, and maybe sometimes he has Gevura and Hod as one partzuf, or maybe he means two partzufim of the Bina of Gevura and the Bina of Hod. The Bina Desiya. So reaching down into the Bina Desiya, and you read it backwards, and you can see where it's going. It says the Asiya, you're in Asiya. We're in the Bina Desiya. We're in the Hod and the Gevura of the Bina Desiya. The Bina of the left line. So apparently you could have, there's a parts of, that's why I'm understanding it, of the left line. And then they're going to also cover over this makif and pavinim the chazas for the purpose of covering that over. Okay, let me see what did I get to. L'shtei osias achronos. So of this kara, he says the ofef is for this flying purpose. Bipinimi makif the baga, and what's going to fly? What's going to fly is the pinimi and the makif. The baga of that left line, the gevura of the gevura of gevura. Each one of these are partzufim, and then he has specific spheros. But then he could take the sphere and make it into a partzuf too. So go deeper and deeper. The gevura of a hod, and it sounds like it's one parts of gevura and hod, but let's say gevura and hod. La'alos called klalos this baga of the whole klal of the left line, the gevura, the hod. The bina of this, once again, the string there, v'hod, the bina, ayidecha small hanizol, like by that left line that we've been talking about, the halvish, the left line, the baga, the chabad, the malchus of the top of the malchus, once again, of the chabad, the malchus, v'lachavrav el os kuf, the shem hashvi, and also at the same time, some of this is going to go into malchus. I think that's the part he was talking about there, but I haven't seen it written out. So maybe it'll be inside better. We'll see it. Let me see what we do in time rise. Okay. The next one, which begins with Nagad, he says, and this is going to be pulled down from the Tiferes of Yetzirah. So the word mem here is important. It's coming from there to let you know that it's coming from Yetzirah, from a specific place, from the next sphera down in Yetzirah. The chasos v'la'alos, the middle line, that is the Tiferes, the middle line of Tiferes. Going together is Yesod, a part of the same partzif, or each one individually, I don't know. But it could be either way. The Tiferes for Yesod, the Das, the Siyah, and it's going to go from the Da into the Das of Siyah, and it could take it, the Halvish, Dati, the Chabad, the Malchus. So we're going to take it, and we're going to cover over the middle line of the parts of Malchus, which is up above in Olam Yitzirah. The Sham, but this name, Abatar, this is going to go to the next sphera in Olam Yitzirah. But Menetzah the Yitzirah, what's it going to do? It's going to chasos v'la'alchos hachan, the chachma, that is the right line of the parts of chacham. That right line of the right line, the Chochmah, the Chesed, which is once again Chochmah and Chesed are on the right line, to the very top of the Chesed, the Asiyah, the Halvish, and what is it going to do? The idea is this Yitzir, this Ana B'Koach, these parts are pulling up, and it's going to pull it up onto the Hachan, the Chesed, V'Netzach, the Malchus, on that right line of Malchus. The Chesed, the lower part, which is the Chesed, and the Nachad, which is the lower two partsufim, if we look at it that way. V'shem Hakav Tenet, so this next, I said it out loud, Yam Shechanu Mehod, the Yetzirah. We should pull this down from the Yehod, the Yetzirah. L'chala, l'chasos, v'la'alos, baga, the bina, the left line of the left line. Before we had the chesed, I thought, or the chacham, now we got the baga, the bina, to the bina of the parts of Gevurah, which is in the Olam Asiyah, v'hod, and also the hod, the halbish, the baga, the Gevurah, v'hod, the malchus. So bring it that up, and he's showing exactly where it goes and how it goes. V'sham, V'shem, the next name, which begins Yagel, let's say, Yam Shekena mi Yisod the Yetzirah, so you should pull down from the Yisod of Yetzirah, you're back on the middle line again, the Chasos v'la'alos dandi d'datech the das the Teferis. So it would be the dati, of the parts of dati, of the parts of das, of the Sphira of das, the Teferis. The halbish dati, the Teferis v'Yisod, the Malchus, the cover over these, the Malchus, Hakol al Derek HaNezal, and all of it according to the way that we said previously, Nizal, Pirush Shemos Nizal, as we talked about this, the name of the Chem Ba'omrach of the Tefillas Rabbi Nechunya, when you when you're saying the Tefillah Rabbi Chanuna, Ada B'koach Yiten Revach Ben Kol Shtei Osios. So I'm not familiar with the Tefillas of Rabbi Nechunya offhand. But at any rate, he said what he says is, you don't say them like like that, but you should say each one of the two separately. I guess like that, but an anav, and then the next one would be koach. Okay, anyway, I don't have it in front of me, I can remember it. Okay, now he's going to do a little summary here, and so if we can get through this. V'hine, b'yom rishon, the first day of the week, sholat chesed. So this is like a little summary, maybe. And the Rishash is a microscopic look when you say the word chesed. So here's a microscopic look at that word. But at any rate, we're not doing that now. V'hinei b'yom rishon sholat hachesed, the shem akron, the shem mab shuhu, which is avgi. I don't know what he means. The last. The shem harishon. I'm sorry. The shem harishon, the shem mav, which is avgi. Hu hagover. This is in charge of ubo kolulim. Kol havav, all of the other vav part above phrases. B'yom rishon yikaven lahamshich vav shemos, and there's also now you have the idea on the first day to pull down mechagat nai the chesed the Yetzirah, to pull it down from the vok of Yetzirah. La'alos, and why are you bringing down the radiance that's coming from the vok of Yetzirah? La'alos sheish madregos the Chabad v'chagat, to take up these 6 levels, which are Chabad and Chagat, the Chesed, the Siyah. That's what we're trying to do, bring up the Chabad and the Chesed, the Chesed, and he says that these are different, each one is a different madrega. So looking into it deeply, there's a ladder effect where you have one on top of the next. So sheish madregos the Chabad v'chagat, the Chesed, the Siyah. We go into the Chesed of the Siyah, and we're going to pull that up. The halbish benimius v'hitzonius, the cover over the inside and the outside, the malchus, the Chesed, the Yetzirah. The words, once again, the right line, the Chesed of Yetzirah. Up above, he went into much more detail. A kol kaseder anal, everything is according to the Seder that we said up above. The kaseder chazecha b'yom sheni, so you do the same thing on the second day. The kol halamos of yom gimel, b'tiferes, v'chein kulam ad shebiyom Shabbos b'malchus, and all of them like the same thing till we get to Shabbos. Now, so I am planning so that the next time we get over to look at this, that that is the Ana B'Koach, etc., that we'll start reading in the TIV also what's going on there. Okay, the last paragraph. Yekavin lahamshik shisha shemas demab ha'elu mevok devok the yitzira. What is the vok of yitzira? The handa biyom rishon mevok the chesed. So he said the vok of chesed. A yom sheni mevok the gevura. Now he didn't say. I would thought he might have said the yom rishon is. Well, let's read it again. He said the handa biyom rishon. You're going to take from the vok the chesed. Yom sheni mevok the gevura. So I'm mashma that each one of them is a vok. Yom gimel mevok the teferis. Yom daled mevok the netzach. Yom Hey Mivok the Hod, so you'll be working with those 6. Yom Hashishi Mivok the Yisod. Yom Shabbos Kodesh Mivok the Nekudas Malchus Atzma. The Chitzonius Chabad Upaminimius Chagat. To take it to where we're going to take it, you're going to take it to the Chitzonius and the Panemius, the Chitzonius of Chabad. This will bring you to the Panemius of Chagat, the Asiyah. And what are you going to do? You're reaching down into there, la'alosam, la'halbish, panemius, v'kitzonius, malchus, the sphera, the sphera, hasholetes, bayom hahu, which is really in charge. So we're bringing it onto there. And I think that's all we have time for today. We managed to get this a very deep understanding of that the Rishash has. It's just, the way he talks. Call tooth.